you need to understand your customers, right? So at the core, if you don't understand your customers, then everything you do above that mark is not going to work.
Hi Sabir, welcome to Beyond Carts.
Hi Sohail, it's nice to be here.
Likewise. So today we have with us Sabir Semerkant, who is the founder of Growth by Sabir, an e-commerce agency that helps your brands 2x your growth with different methods that he'll be explaining us today. He is also early members at VaynerMedia, worked closely with Gary Vaynerchuk, and a lecturer at Harvard Business School as well. So Sabir, could you tell us a bit more about yourself and what exactly you do?
So I'm one of those OGs that have been in the e-commerce field for 25 plus years. So and e-commerce is roughly 25 years old. So I've been in it from the very beginning. I've seen quite a bit. I've been responsible for growing a lot of great brands over the years. Hundreds of brands, over $1 billion in incremental revenue for all these e-commerce brands. I have my own e-commerce brands that I run myself. And from those experiences over 25 years, created a framework called the 8D method, which we will definitely go into. 8D stands for 8 dimensions of e-commerce. And when you optimize these dimensions, that's when you get ridiculous growth.
Interesting. So even I've been, when I was exploring your profile, that's something you have your expertise in. Could you just break down what 8D is for me and for the audience?
Sure. So the 8D is 8 different dimensions. At a high level, the issue is, the reason I came up with the 8D method is that most folks in my category, what they do is when they call themselves growth hackers, and growth hacking primarily, in my view, they concentrate on one thing. For example, the Meta ads guy, the Facebook ads guy, focuses on Facebook ads because everything looks like a Facebook problem, right? The Shopify dev shop thinks that it's the store needs to be redesigned, and that's what's going to fix our problem with growth, right? The SEO guy says, it's the SEO, right? So literally every specialty looks at commerce and says, that's the problem, that whatever their specialty is, right? And when they grow, they will, if they're really good at it, they will grow a little bit, but it's not going to be foundational growth, meaning that it's not compounding growth. It's not a growth that, let's say, Warren Buffett will be proud of, right? Because Warren Buffett loves compounded growth, in whatever you do. So the 8D method is a very compounding type of a growth, meaning that the stuff that you do once you implement the 8D method and you optimize all of the 8 dimensions is what I call 8D method, right? When you optimize it is very foundational, and it is very much based on correcting the strategy, right? So once you correct that strategy, the compounded growth is not just for a short period of time, very tactical that you typically see with other things. This actually sustains itself over and over, so that now you're building on top of the building block. You keep on building on top of it, and you keep going and growing. So as an example, first 3 weeks of the 8D method, once it's implemented, I have a formal program called the Rapid 2X that implements the 8D method in 10 weeks. And I work with a lot of entrepreneurs where I'm coaching them, and they are the ones who actually do the work. But in the first 3 weeks, on average, they see a 70% uplift in their e-commerce revenue, 70%, right? And that's an average. We have had people that have had 164%. One very recent one had a 346% increase in there. And 2 things happened there, Sohail, right? One is go like, oh my God, how much off course were we, right? You're on a certain course, you want to get things done. And then you see that 3 weeks of the 8D method and the Rapid 2X program, they see this ridiculous 70% is a huge number. It's not a small number, right? that's on average performance. Like others that see over 300%, they go like, oh my God, we were so off course. Like this guy is putting us back on course and doing this growth. And we keep on building on top of it. So the work we do in first week, it keeps on paying us dividends. Week 2, week 3, week 4. It is very compounding. So in 10 weeks, the record holder in the Rapid 2X program, her business experience, it was a fashion brand, experienced 6.5x growth. 6.5x growth, so that's what the power of the 8D method is, and the type of a problem it solves. It's not a siloed approach, it's a multi-dimensional approach to growth, and very foundational, so that it's not like, and we have so many Rapid 2Xers that have graduated the program, and they're beyond Rapid 2X now, and those folks continue benefiting from that growth. So it was not just it was not like a one-hit wonder that you saw the growth in 10 weeks and after the program ended, it dies, and that's not the case. It's a sustained growth over time. And that comes from a lot of experiences with like Ashley Stewart, Vitamin Shop, Canon. There are so many of them, hundreds of brands, a lot of celebrities. I have done so many Shark Tank brands, are working with the sharks on Shark Tank. And venture capitalists, angel investors, board of directors, so many of them that are looking for, when they make an investment, they want to set the foundation correct for growth. And then from there, they see the benefits. And it's a compounded benefit that is what they're seeing.
Interesting. With the rise of competition that's happening, especially in the D2C space, right? How do you think 8D method will actually help them? Like I have seen, I'll tell you my experience, out of my experience, that it's been 4 years since I came into this e-commerce space, and I've seen brands that started to shoot since COVID started. That's where most of the brands started flocking in. Oh, he did a new brand, let me start it. Oh, he did, he built something like this. I'll make a replica of this. And this is how it's been, right? Past 4 years.
Yeah.
But eventually, over a year or 2 year, most of them are dead. They don't even have their presence anymore. And the ones who survived are the ones who had a strong strategy, who had like a good intent, a purpose when they started. So how do you think this 8D method can actually help the brands that didn't have a solid strategy or hasn't even found the product market fit? Is it something for those brands as well?
So I'll give an advice on that, and I'll give you the answer after that, right? Number one, your 8D method works best if you have a product market fit. So that's the primary thing. That's the quick answer, right? However, I'll give you a proper answer to the folks that started their brand during COVID. There are so many of them are part of the Rapid 2X program, but they're not one and done type of a brand, right? They had the right intent. It just so happens that they started on March 16, 2020, the first week of lockdown, right? That they started. It was just timing on the calendar. Just so happens that they started on that. But there are so many brands, and I can tell you, there are brands that started by well-known entrepreneurs during COVID that tanked completely. It was a failure. And these were really seasoned entrepreneurs. What they did was they focused on an opportunity that the pandemic gave them. For example, let's sell hand sanitizers, let's sell face masks, or let's sell hand sanitizers for professional settings like clinics and salons and stuff like that, right? The intent was right, the intelligence of the entrepreneur was right, but the thing is, it was a very trendy industry that they were getting into. The time, it was an opportunity for them to make a quick buck but get out, right? And that problem is not unique to the pandemic, right? Just before the pandemic, do you remember the fidget spinners?
I do.
The circular things that it was supposed to be for stress. Do you know how many entrepreneurs started a fidget spinner business? Or one of those hover things that you stand on top of it that takes you from point A to point B? Some of them even caught fire, literally caught fire. I don't mean sales. I mean, literally, it's burned their skin and stuff, The thing is, if you are in that business, and I've actually helped a business owner that wanted to strictly work on trendy business, meaning that if they wanted to come up with a trend, socialize it, could go viral, and then sell the hell out of that product, Once it's sold out, that's it. There was no more inventory. They would move on to the next trend. That's a strategy. If it's part of your strategy to be a trendy brand that does only trendy stuff, great. From the get-go, you should know that that's what you're doing, right? But if you are working on a trendy product and you see 1,000 sellers on Amazon.com, world's biggest marketplace, right? People are selling 1,000 sellers are selling some replica of the thing you want to market. The initial 5 seconds of that litmus test, you should not get into that market, right? Especially if you can find the product on Alibaba or AliExpress or any of the other drop shipping platforms, maybe that's not something that you should be getting into. However, you said that you got started getting into this field, right? Into the e-commerce field. As a learning experience, I would say that drop shipping is a good learning experience, right? Even then, I would actually buy the inventory and manage that inventory myself to create my own experiences, because when you do drop shipping, there could be a lot of last mile disappointments, to the consumer. I would actually buy inventory of, I don't know, whatever you can afford, 100 units or 1,000 units of something, and work on all these 8 dimensions from 8D method, right? If you work on it and take it as not to improve your business, because you have no business, it's zero, right? But you set it as a foundational thing, you can actually implement all the right foundations from the get-go, right? So that you're setting yourself apart, right? The example that I use is, because I'm a cat person, right? I have a cat, I own a cat. It's she's a ragdoll kitten, it's a beautiful, very furry cat, right? And I have bought her a water fountain, right? Because I want her to drink regularly, be hydrated, and her fur will be very fresh and all of those kinds of things, right? So if I were to get into that business, if I go on AliExpress, I can find that product by multiple manufacturers, and they're all going to be doing, selling variety of them, right? They have the water fountain that's circular. They have ones that are cubic, whatever. There are so many designs of it, right? And then if I do the same research and I go on Amazon and type in cat water fountain, there are 2,000 sellers that are selling the same product with the same photos, by putting some sort of margin on top of it. And that's it. That's the listing. And none of them have that much of reviews at all. Not even reviews are on there. So it's just a listing. They're not even selling at all. You go on eBay, the same thing, right? If I take that product, it's the same product. Now imagine I don't use any of the photos that AliExpress gave me, right? I'm not using any of it. I am taking photos of that water fountain. I buy a unit of it in maybe each color. And then I take photos of it with my cat drinking from it. I do my own photography and videos with my cat, with me in the photo, with the cat and stuff like that. And I'm giving a personal testimonial of showing how great the fur of the cat is because it's hydrated and stuff like that, and how healthy it is, right? Once I add just that dimension of marketing and storytelling, that's one of the dimensions of 8D method. That by itself, my product is completely a different product than 1,000 other listings.
Absolutely.
Right? Because I told a story that sets it apart from functions and features of the product. It's 24 fluid ounces. It has 5 nozzles. If I'm a pet parent, right? I own a cat. I don't really care about those things, right? I care about the fact that will my cat use this thing? What kind of benefit would she get if she uses it? Is she going to have fun with it? If she's going to eat it, drink from it, whatever, I'm going to buy that product. And if my listing is showing that, whether I'm selling a D2C or Amazon or eBay or whatever, that my listing would be completely set apart from all the other 2,000 listings that are out there, right? 100%. Because I just placed the product, and the positioning that I did with that product shows a lot of emotion. It shows the fact that I know this product. I actually use it for my cat, right? It just turns it into something more tangible. So somebody who, sees that, and somebody else who has a cat understands the loving relationship I have with my cat, and so on and so forth, right? So just that one dimension itself taking a drop shipping product, and if you implement that for a new brand, right? Sohail'sPetProducts.com, right? I would be able to beat out the other 2,000 sellers that are selling the same product and they're competing on price. I might even double my price and sell that and outsell them by doubling my price.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Because when I double my price, anyone that sees my personal touch and my double the price, consumer psychology would tell them that this is the real product, and the other 2,000 are all counterfeit garbage products that could break down possibly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So I also came across one of your case studies, which you did for I think it's a jewelry brand where you made some minor tweaks and had increased their revenue by almost 70% or more than that. So I'm just curious and wanted to know what were the things that you had done there, because again, you did it without even spending a penny on ads.
No, actually, most rapid 2Xers end up spending less on paid ads.
Okay.
And more than double their business, because the thing is, so here, paid ads has its place, and paid ads is one of the dimensions, part of a dimension of performance optimization, right? Most entrepreneurs, what they get wrong is, because all the YouTube videos that exist out there, I would blame them, number one, right? Set up your Shopify site or Amazon store, Seller Central. What's the next thing they'll tell you? If it's on Amazon, Amazon ads. If it's on Shopify, Meta ads account. Set that up, right? Once they set that up, you put money in, you have to invest money to get attention, blah, blah, blah. I understand the arguments. I don't agree with them, right? But that's what you do. And you're conditioned as an entrepreneur, especially if you are learning from those YouTube videos or digital courses. Oh, that's what I have to do, right? And then I have to look at my ROAS, right? Return on advertising spend. Or I have to look at my cost per acquisition, CPA, right? I want to look at those numbers. And as long as I'm making profit on that transaction, I'm good. What you're doing with your business is you're constantly buying your transactions, right? So one of the things I do first is if it's not producing more than 3 ROAS, when rapid 2Xers start with the 8D method, right? If it's not producing a ROAS of 3, which I'm making an assumption that the gross margin, if it's your own brand, your gross margin is around 55, 60%. Let's assume that, right? If I assume that, that means that if I do a ROAS of 3 on that first transaction, you are okay. You're profitable. You're not losing money. So I would ask them to make some tweaks to the performance optimization of the paid ads, and then they're going to increase that too, right? The paid media with Meta ads, they can achieve anywhere from 3.5 to 6x on ROAS, if you optimize that. But that's not the way to optimize it. The way you optimize the very first task in Rapid 2X with the 8D method, number one, has to do with site speed. Number one task. The very first thing the first thing you tackle is your site speed. And why is site speed so important? Site speed, and there is a little known feature of like Google. It's called page speed insights. So if you Google that, it's by Google. Not many people know about it. They don't even use it. It should be the number one tool they should use in every business. But the one tool that I use that actually combines page speed with some other data is GT metrics, right? Everyone and anyone that's listening to this podcast, you should head over to gtmetrics.com and plug in your domain, right? Whatever your Shopify site is. Plug that in. It will give you a score. Not only give you a score, it will give you a detailed every aspect of what's dragging down your site, like from a speed standpoint, right? And why do I obsess about site speed as a number one task? Human attention span is 1.7 seconds. 1.7 seconds. It takes you, Sohail, 1.7 seconds to ignore what's in front of you. Not for me, and you're going to swipe up. You're going to go to the next thing on TikTok. And TikTok has actually given us that behavior. It's TikTok, it's Instagram Reels, it's Amazon. If I don't like something, oh, it's not for me. That's your tolerance, is 1.7 seconds. Now, if you run this report on GT Metrics on your Shopify store, most Shopify stores average between 20 to 30 seconds for a page load. 20 to 30 seconds. You are, the story of hare and tortoise,
No.
That, that's, or the rabbit and the turtle,
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
So it has different names. Basically, as a kid, we have learned that, right? But in this case, the reverse is true, right? You are 20 times slow as a site, whether it's your homepage, and especially your product page should not be that slow. You are 20 times slow, not like 1%, 2%. You are 20 times slow on average. Some of them are even worse, right? Now you are what? Banking on people's patience to sit there for that long? It's not going to happen. And in most cases, people are on mobile. Their tolerance is even less because they think that there's something wrong with their Verizon or T-Mobile or wherever, whoever your mobile provider is, right? They think that there's something wrong with their connection, and they give up and they go like, oh, I'll take a look at it when I get home on my computer on my Wi-Fi, right? And there you go. The statement I just made explains your bounce rate and explains your cart abandonment. That's the number one reason. Most businesses, what they do, they learn about cart abandonment series, right? Let's set up Klaviyo series to do cart abandonment. Yeah, you're fixing the problem later on. Your initial problem is you're not even serving things up fast enough, right? As soon as you understand that one critical point, then you will obsess about, fixing it and keeping it around that 1.7 second number, right? And the more you do that, you're going to automatically open up conversion rate, right? People want to buy from you. And most Shopify store owners or WooCommerce or Magento store owners do their best and in engaging in an activity, what I call anti-commerce. They don't want you to buy from them, which is ridiculous, So that's why the GT metrics report and really lightening up your page, speeding up. There's a lot of tactics that we cover that helps speed up your site, speed up your page to page when you're going from page to page or when you're scrolling and stuff like that. We go through those things. That's one dimension of performance optimization, right? As soon as we did that, and the case study you're referring to is Orum Brothers. They're based in Netherlands. They make their own bracelets and stuff like that in Netherlands. It's a very authentic luxury brand. And with that first week, 70% uplift, right? And Max, one of the co-founders of the company, gave us that testimonial. Well, like first week, we realized that we just have to hear this guy. Whatever he has to say, we'll just do it, right? And they graduated the Rapid 2X program. And after, and we sustained that growth. And they are right now, they are in our Hyper 10X program. Hyper 10X is a one-on-one, program that we work directly with clients. That's a combination of like a retainer plus equity in the business. It's only open to people that go through the Rapid 2X program, right? Because we want to make sure that the foundation is set before we start scaling the hell out of that business, right? And right now, we just determined with them, because we meet on a weekly basis, we just determined that by September 8th of this year, they would have beaten the entire year's revenue of last year by September 8th.
That's insane.
So starting when they wake up on September 9 through all of Q4, which is Q4 is holidays, right? And that product actually lends itself nicely to holidays, is going to be pure ridiculous growth we will have in that brand.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. Interesting. So for any entrepreneur who is getting started or have their business in place, what are 5 marketing tips you would give them?
They have been in business already?
Yes.
They have been selling.
Yes,
Okay.
they want to scale and grow from there.
All right. So just like the speed is important, understanding your customer life cycle is really important for you, right? Especially if you're in a category of business where there is a repeatable business, right? Meaning, let me give you examples. Fashion is a repeatable business, meaning that spring is over, they need summer clothes. Summer is over, they need fall or autumn clothes. Fall and autumn, in the middle of it, we have, before winter starts, we have holiday season, right? Then you have winter, and then spring starts again. So if your brand is doing a great job with that consumer, they could sell 4 regular seasons plus holiday five times a year, right? You need to understand that rhythm of your category, right? If you're in the vitamin business, supplements, right? That bottle has 30-day supply. On the 25th day, they need to get their replenishment so that they're not out of their vitamins, right? So they keep on taking it, whether during workout, weight loss, whatever, right? If you're in those are examples of repeatable businesses. Some businesses that are not repeatable, right? At the other extreme, and I'll talk about the middle too. The other extreme are businesses that sell, for example, if I buy a TV, I'm not going to buy another TV 30 days from now, right? I might change it out. Maybe if I'm really into my television, right, I might change it out every year or maybe every 3 years, right? Because technology changes. I'm obsessed with technology. I might change it out, but I'm going to buy it once every 3 years, right? Refrigerator, right? If I buy it, I might not buy it again in 10 years, right? Or I might, in fact, if I sell the house, that guy gets my house after me might actually inherit that refrigerator from me. But you have also the middle. There are categories like jewelry, for example, right? Those are discretionary. I'll buy it because it makes me feel a certain way, right? I feel good because it's fashionable. It looks good. I might, if I like suits and jackets, I might buy them. That's also fashion, but I might buy them. Like there are some people, they buy a couple of suits and that's it. That's their suit forever, right? But there are people that buy suits once a month, and because they look great in suits and they want to continue buying it. So you need to understand your customers, right? So at the core, if you don't understand your customers, then everything you do above that mark is not going to work, right? For example, customer acquisition, right? I want to get new customers coming to me. If I don't understand my customer life cycle, what sort of ad creative are you creating, right? Are you talking about the product's benefits? That could be interesting for like less than 2 seconds, and you lost people, right? If you don't understand what makes people buy your product, you're not going to succeed at customer acquisition. Great. Now you acquired these customers, and there are so many businesses that enter the Rapid 2X program that have a class of customers that I call one-hit wonders. Do you know what one-hit wonders are, Sohail?
No.
One-hit wonders are, do you remember, it was the worldwide sensation, Macarena, right? Or Psy, Gangnam Style, right?
Yeah, I get it.
Those are one time. You heard it one time, and that artist never came up with another hit. It was a one-hit wonder. That's it, right? There are customers that are in your database, in your Shopify customers file, on your Klaviyo, on your other CRM, that I consider one-hit wonders. You acquired them, they bought once from you, they never bought from you again, right? And in most cases, I see 70 to 80% of your file of a typical Shopify store or WooCommerce or any D2C site, 70 to 80% of them are one-hit wonders. So that tells me the health of the business. That tells me that you are strictly a one transaction business. You are purely a transactional business. You have no brand equity, does not exist at all. There is no interest in any kind of follow-up or follow through, nothing, right? So that if I continue spending money with Google and Facebook, I'm going to continue getting new customers. And it's not new customers. Let's change that. It's new transactions. That's it. It's a purely transactional business. It's a grocery store. I was out of cucumbers. I went in and I bought cucumbers. I don't care where the cucumbers are being sold. I just bought it, right? That's the issue with that, right? And you have to actively manage the retargeting and retention of your business and understand how many 1x buyers you have, how many 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x. I do see the other extreme of it. Like they would have they have majority 80% of their database is one-hit wonders, and then and in the middle there are trickling very few 2x, 3x, 4x, but then they have like 10% of their file, another 10% is 7x plus. So everything in the middle, it just dies down but people who really like you, they keep on buying from you.
True.
But no thanks to you. Maybe the product is good. That's the only reason, right? That's the
Yeah.
only reason they come back. But you didn't do anything as a business owner. So retargeting, retention, and actively managing these numbers, not just obsessing about ROAS and top line revenue. Conversion rate is another one that people, most e-commerce people say, oh, my site conversion rate went up, went down, whatever. That's an average number. Like if I walk into a room full of, like, there are 100 people in there, 50 of them are basketball players from NBA, and 50 of them are leprechauns from Lord of the Rings. What's the average height of the room? It will be 5 feet 7 inches. How many 5 feet 7 inch people are in the room? Zero, right? Averages don't tell you that. Average is not the right number. So when you look at a site conversion rate, that gives you an average number. I would rather look at the bounce rate. I would rather look at people who stayed on, the unbounced, the non-bounce, the people who didn't bounce. What is their conversion rate, right? And then address all the bounces that came in. What are the sources of those bounces, right? And understand, like, what is driving it. If I see that a specific UTM source in Medium from Facebook ad that's driving a lot of these bounces, that means to me that my Facebook audience is not right, that it doesn't matter how great your ad creative and how award-winning ad creative you created. The fact that you chose to show it to the wrong people, right? That's the problem, right? And also creating the right signals for these platforms. All these platforms are incredible, by the way. Meta ads and Google. I'm like a kid in a candy store, considering I've been through this journey for 25 years. 25 years, I didn't have the tools that I have today. That's why I sped up. It took me 4.5 years to take Vitamin Shop, which was about 20 plus years ago, right? 4.5 years to take it from 12 million to 52 million, right? So it took me that long. 10 years later, Ashley Stewart, I grew that 10x from 3 million to 30 million in 2 years.
Interesting.
Because the tools, the platforms refined, the amount of amazing tools and platforms you have is incredible. It's just you need to know how to use it, right? I mean, you could take a hammer and destroy things, but you could take the same hammer and create a statue of David, right? It depends on who's holding the hammer, right? And it's that same hammer. So it's the same meta ads, it's the same social media platforms, it's the same Shopify Shopify is a godsend. It's an incredible platform that gives you a whole ecosystem of integrations that it's unmatched anywhere, right? There are other ones. There are other platforms that are as good, like BigCommerce is good, WooCommerce is good, but the type of integration and deep integration that like, for example, Shopify gives you, none of the other platforms give you. The fact that Google gives you AI-based and machine learning-based Performance Max, right? Automated campaigns. That's incredible, but you have to know how to set it up correctly, right? Advantage Plus is incredible. Pinterest came up with Performance Plus, I think. Performance Plus or something like that. It's a similar kind of a thing, right? You have to understand, like, how to configure it, how to set it up, and tackle customer acquisition, customer retargeting, customer retention, and customer reactivation. And literally everything you do in a business, that's what you should be focused on. And with it comes the mediums, right? You have Meta, you have Google, you have Klaviyo, you have Yotpo SMS, right? You have these tools that allow you to engage with the consumer based on the medium that they are on, or even browser notifications for that matter, right? And all the organic channels through SEO, email marketing, social organic. There are so many tools that you have. It's just knowing how to utilize that effectively, right? So that you're not wasting time. A lot of it, when you are doing a lot of trials and errors, the thing is, I have done that over the past 25 years. And that's the plus that you get from the 8D method, is the kind of the embodiment of those 1,000 lashes on my back, and the deep scars I have because of those learnings, and kept on refining it. And we keep on refining the 8D method as things change, because the platforms change. Cookies are important, cookies are dead. That makes a huge difference.
Interesting. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Sabir,